Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Effy. I really hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. This week we are back with another makeup and mythology video, and this week we're looking at a story that I remember being told when I was a child, and that is the story of Icarus. And I quite like this story. It is a cautionary tale, it is quite a sad story, but overall it's short, it's sweet, it has a moral to it, it's all good. And generally, even though it's called the story of Icarus, it has very little to do with Icarus, but you'll hear that as we go on. Today I used the MUA Cosmetics Tropical Oceana Eyeshadow palette, and this, along with everything else I used on my face, will be linked in the description box down below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoy this content, and if you do enjoy my content, why not subscribe? I put out a video every Wednesday. Makeup and mythology I put up every 3 or 4 weeks. But other than that, I'm going to stop talking and let you get on with the video. I really hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the story of Icarus. And oddly enough, the story of Icarus doesn't actually start with Icarus. It starts before he is even born, because it starts by focusing on his father called Daedalus. Now, Daedalus is an inventor slash sculptor slash architect. He's kind of just well known for being very smart and very good with his hands, very good at inventing things. All good things, all good things. However, one day he kind of commits a rather serious crime. So he is working in his workshop and he has an apprentice, and the name of the apprentice changes depending on which version you read, but I'm going to call him Talus because that's one of the names. And another thing you should probably know is Talus is also his nephew, and basically one day Daedalus gets very jealous of Talus. Now, Talus is known for inventing the compass, and he's also known for inventing the saw. Two pretty big inventions, I'd say. Okay, I've just zoomed you in a bit. So yeah, Talus has invented the compass and the saw, and Daedalus is very jealous of this. So what does Daedalus do to his apprentice and his nephew? Well, he decides to throw Talus from the Acropolis. Now, I'm not sure what the Acropolis is, I didn't look it up, mainly because I did the research for this story right before I started filming. Now, Talus didn't die. It is said in one of the versions I read that Athena turned him into a bird so that he could fly away or something like that. But I guess the main thing is that he didn't die. However, in that same version it said that Daedalus was exiled for murder, but if Talus didn't die, how is it murder? But I guess attempted murder is still a crime. So Daedalus was exiled and he sought refuge on the island of Crete. Now, the island of Crete had a king, and the king was called Minos. Now, Minos is mentioned in quite a few stories, but he is most well known for having a minotaur. Now, a minotaur is a creature that is half human and half bull, in that it has the body of a human and the head of a bull. There is a story as to how the minotaur came about, but it's kind of disgusting, to be completely honest. I'll give the brief, less disgusting overview. Basically, Minos had a white bull that was meant to be given as a sacrifice to Poseidon, but Minos decided he didn't want to do that, so he kept the bull, and as a punishment, Poseidon made it so that Minos' wife would fall in love with the bull. Hence, half human, half bull hybrid. You can put 2 and 2 together and decide what went on there. But anyway, Daedalus came to the island And his reputation of being a skilled inventor and craftsman sort of preceded him. The king knew who he was and sort of asked for Daedalus to come and work for him. And Daedalus did. He was looking to start a new life, and this was a good way to start. So he went to work for the king. While he was working for the king, he did meet a slave girl who I cannot pronounce the name of, so I'm not going to bother, but he ended up marrying and having a child with this woman, and that child is Icarus. Now, the king asked Daedalus to create a prison for the Minotaur, and there are two different versions at least. One states that it was Minos's idea to create a big maze, and the other versions state that it was Daedalus's idea that a maze would be better than a sort of prison cell. But essentially it leads to the same outcome of Daedalus inventing a maze that was so large and so perfect that once you entered, there was no way you could get out of it again. And the maze, as I'm sure you know, is known as the Labyrinth. Now again, there are quite a few different versions. One version is that Minos put the Minotaur in the labyrinth, and then in order to keep the secret of the Minotaur and the secrets of the labyrinth, he threw Daedalus and Icarus into the labyrinth to make sure they didn't spread any secrets. Pretty boring version if you ask me. So, my version. In my version, Theseus, who was the Prince of Athens, was sent as a human sacrifice to the Minotaur. So he arrived in Crete ready to sacrifice himself / be sacrificed. I don't know if it was willing or not, but either way he was going to be given to the Minotaur. When Theseus arrived in Crete, Minos' daughter, who I think is called Ariadne, I'm not sure, I might be pronouncing that wrong, she fell in love with Theseus immediately. This tends to happen in Greek mythology, to be honest. People just fall in love at the drop of a hat. And she decided that she did not want Theseus to die, which is what would happen if he went into the labyrinth, because he would either die fighting the Minotaur or he would not be able to find his way back out again. She went to Daedalus and asked him how could Theseus enter the labyrinth, kill the Minotaur, and then get out safely. And Daedalus suggested that Theseus take a piece of string or thread and tie it to the entrance of the labyrinth so that when he was finished, he could easily follow it back out again to the entrance and get out safely. So this is what Theseus did. He went into the labyrinth, he killed the Minotaur, and then he simply followed the string to get back out, and he left Crete and he took Ariadne with him. This obviously angered Minos. He was expecting Theseus to die. He was also expecting to still have a daughter at the end of the day. Neither of those things happened. So in my version, this is when Daedalus and Icarus enter the labyrinth and they are kept as prisoners in there. And again, there's more than one version of what happened after this. The first version being that Minos' wife took pity on Icarus and Daedalus and let them go, and then the next part happens. But the other version is that she doesn't and they are just in the labyrinth. But either way, they decide that they are going to escape to Sicily. And the way to get to Sicily for them would be to fashion their own wings from wax and bird feathers and fly over the waters to Sicily. So regardless of whether Minos' wife set them free or whether they are still in the labyrinth at this point, they decide to create these wings. And together they create 2 sets of wings, one for each of them. Now before they go, Daedalus warns his son Icarus that if he is to fly too close to the sun, then the heat from the sun would melt the wax in the wings and the wings would fall apart and so much powder everywhere, and they would fall into the ocean and drown. They put on their wings and they set off to fly to Sicily. And for a time it's all going quite well until Icarus almost gets a little bit cocky. He's enjoying flying. It's obviously not something that humans tend to do on a regular basis. And he starts doing somersaults and loop-de-loops and just having fun with it really, which I think a lot of people would do if you were given the opportunity to fly with wings. Who wouldn't do that? However, Icarus forgets the warning that his father gave him and flies too close to the sun. And just like Daedalus said, the wax on the wings begins to melt and Icarus unfortunately falls into the waters down below and drowns. Now it did say that the island his body washes up on was named after him in the end, which is quite nice, but obviously it's very sad that Icarus died. However, his father Daedalus does make it to Sicily, and King Minos, who is obviously furious that his prisoner got away, chases him. But by the time he gets to Sicily, Daedalus is already working for the King of Sicily. So the King of Sicily happily kills King Minos so that his worker is safe. Like I said, Daedalus is very, very intelligent, very good at building things, a great inventor. So if it takes killing a king to keep your amazing inventor alive, you're gonna do it. That's exactly what happens. And really that's the end of the story of Icarus and Daedalus. Now I realise that this story is called the story of Icarus, however, in case you didn't pay much attention, the story's mainly about his father. In fact, Icarus is barely in this story. And that is because the story of Icarus is kind of a very tragic story about a boy who truly paid the price for his father's actions. At the end of the day, it was Daedalus who threw Talus to his death, and it was Daedalus who helped Minos's daughter and Theseus. It was Daedalus who created the labyrinth. Really, all Icarus did was be born. I think that's part of the reason why this is such a sad story. Icarus truly didn't deserve what he got. And I don't think anyone can blame Icarus for getting excited when he was flying and just accidentally flying too close to the sun. However, that's the part of the story that most people tend to remember. I feel like this story is very, very well known across the world because it is often used to tell people, you know, maybe be a bit cautious about what you're doing. And I think it's quite a good story. It's obviously quite a sad one, but it's a short story. It has a lesson at the end of it. But I think overall we can agree that Daedalus is quite a terrible person. And there we go, that is the story of Icarus, even though I agree the story is barely about him. So this is the look I created. It's very, very simple, but I did use a very inexpensive palette, so all good here. Overall, it's pretty good. It's nothing to write home about, but let me know if you like it down below. If you like the story, also let me know, because I quite like it. It's an alright story. I think in terms of Greek mythology, it's really not that bad. There are so many worse stories out there. But yeah, there we go. That is it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I do have a playlist with all my makeup and mythology videos in there, so if you're just interested in that, please check it out. However, I do also do content related specifically to makeup and testing makeup and trying makeup and full faces and get ready with me and all that good stuff. So if you want to check that out, feel free. But other than that, I'm gonna go. I hope you have an amazing day and an even better week, and I will see you next Wednesday for a non-mythology related video. Bye.